The ISB podcast boys are back. Sahil, Rahi, Roy, and we are talking a little South American action with Mr. Jhon Durán. Jhon Durán, do you guys know who this guy is? Roy
I
knows.
love how you put on a South American accent for that entire
Yeah,
introduction.
that was so weird. South American. I like the way you pronounce that.
Yo puede hablar español, Roy. You never knew that.
No,
You didn't know that.
Puedo hablar español.
Puedo hablar español.
Yep.
Puedo.
Puedo hablar español. Sí, yo entiendo. I got a little rusty. I got a little scared because you guys put me on the spot. But don't worry, man. Next time we'll
If
do
you
a
say
whole
less
show
words.
in español. What?
If you say less words in Spanish, you might be able to convince some people.
No,
If you
man.
start adding
Come on,
5,
man.
6 words. Oh man.
Well, we are talking a little Colombiano, Mr. Jhon Durán, who plays for Aston Villa, who had a big week. Of course, Champions League, boys. I mean, there's a lot of Champions League we can talk about. Well, let's focus on this one match, I guess, right? Any quick thoughts on the rest of the matches? No? Yes? No? It was
This
good.
was the match
Good
to focus. This was the match to focus on. This was a colossal upset. Aston Villa beating Bayern Munich in the Champions League.
So crazy.
Incredible. And doing it with, my goodness, Roy, what a goal. What a goal.
What a freaking golazo. It is so beautiful for me. I don't know if you feel emotion, Rocky. You don't feel the emotion I feel because I am so connected to the sport. I am so connected to MLS. So I've seen this guy rise to what he has become today, which is a superhero for Aston Villa, scoring a golazo to beat the Champions League champions, man. The freaking Bayern Munich are exceptional in Champions League qualifying and Champions League. They've won several. Jhon Durán.
Champions League champion. I thought Real Madrid won last year.
Champions is not a special title. They're champions,
Okay.
man.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
All right. Yes, that is 100% true. Okay, let's talk about Mr. Jhon Durán. By the way, Roycito knows this man very well because it seems like every time he plays against Argentina, he plays a pretty good match. He didn't score, but he gives them a lot of trouble.
He's a dangerous man.
He's
a dangerous man. I think this guy's incredible.
Hmm.
This guy's story is incredible.
Yeah, let's start there. Let's start with the story. Let's talk about it. For those who aren't aware, today will be a lesson about a young player. Okay, so let's set the stage first of all. For those that missed it this particular week, Aston Villa beat Bayern Munich in a huge upset, monumental upset. Would you guys say this is like one of the biggest upsets in Champions League history? I don't know if we go that far, right? No.
This season, yeah, it's probably the biggest.
It also is, I think, a testament and a validation of the new format, by the way, which has been excellent. It's been really entertaining, this new Champions League format, and it's given us some great games. This, I think, the biggest one so far. Just a great game, a big upset, and a team that I think is on the rise, right? With a great manager, and this is the kind of thing you hope for. But let's talk about this boy because he's incredible. He's so young, 20 years old, and he's certainly has an American history, shall we say, Roy?
A beautiful American history, my friend.
All right, start it off. Where was he born, firstly?
I don't care where he was born, man.
He was born in Colombia. He was born in Colombia.
States of America. Let's start.
Okay, what city?
Chicago.
Okay, here's a question for you, boys. What city in Colombia is he from now? He wasn't born in this city. He was born in a different city, but where is he from?
I think it's Medellin, is it not?
From now.
Medellin, right?
Like his heritage is Medellin, exactly, right? He was not born in Medellin, but
Roy doesn't even answer questions. Roy just like wants to go off because he didn't know the answer, so he's trying to deflect.
Question. You asked
Medellin, man. Have you been to Medellin? Rahi, have you been to Medellin?
I have been to Medellin.
Yeah, you have.
Incredible city. So he's from Medellin. But after Colombia, Roy, he made a stop at an American city for a while, didn't he?
He did. He did. And did you know, here's a fun fact for you guys. Did you know his signing was a mistake? Well, let me rephrase that. His signing was a great signing. When Chicago's technical director, Sebastián Pelser, German man, went to go scouting in Colombia, he didn't go to scout Jhon Durán. He went to Envigado, random team in Colombia, to scout someone else. And he was watching this someone else, and he kept seeing something very special from 17-year-old Durán. And that's the beginning of where he is today. Because if Sebastian wouldn't have seen him, who knows? At that age, if you don't recognize the talent quickly, he could have been in Colombia for the rest of his career. He may have gone to Argentina for a Vélez Sarsfield or something like that, or Corinthians. But this story is rare. It's unique. It's incredible. The fact that it was a mistake to find him, it was by a completely chance. And then he comes to Chicago Fire 2, my friends. He started with a second team at Chicago.
Okay.
What is it? What is Chicago Fire 2, by the way?
Chicago's second team.
Like, what happens? What happens at Chicago Fire 2, by the way?
I think Chicago Fire 2 is Chicago Fire's JV team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I've.
Can you buy the Chicago Fire 2 jersey? Is that sold individually, or is it the same jersey?
You can buy it. It has a different logo. I think it has a little 2 on there.
Oh, wow.
And,
Okay.
Yeah. Same for LA Galaxy 2. Same for.
Okay.
everything.
Cool.
So how was he in MLS, Roy? Tell us. Was he?
Yeah.
Did he set the league on fire right away?
He wasn't 6 goals and 9 appearances like he is for Villa. He took, if I remember correctly, he took about 3 months to score his first goal for the Chicago Fire, which is a long time for a new striker. And he was starting a lot of those games. He ended up scoring a handful of goals. It was about 8 goals in 27 appearances or so. So he didn't exactly light up MLS. But what was interesting was Chicago bought him as a project. When he was playing his final season in MLS, you started to see why they bought him, but he wasn't bringing it every week. But you were able to see what we're now seeing with Aston Villa in little bits and pieces. So he wasn't a star. He wasn't an MLS all-star. He wasn't a top 3 striker in the league. None of that. But you could see little hints of incredible talent. But they were hints.
Yeah. He sounds like the next Alphonso Davies, maybe, huh? An MLS story that ends up becoming one of the best players in the world. He is on the trajectory. I mean, it's so early. And we're talking about a few months into his and very successful now at Aston Villa, but it's only a few months. And the key word is consistency, Roy. But I think he has the chance to be one of the best strikers in the world. And you know who said that? Someone you know very well, his Aston Villa teammate, has said that he could be one of the best strikers in the world. A countryman of yours.
Have you said this?
Yes.
Emiliano Martinez
did say this. He did say this. But I do want to talk about consistency because he's had a little bit of a rocky road, even with Aston Villa, right? He wanted to leave. He wanted to leave the club. He indicated that he wasn't necessarily happy there. He seems to have. It's an interesting trait, which a lot of young players have, but they want more quicker, right? Roy, you mentioned, you as a young player, you have that drive sometimes to want to achieve more quickly. And there's some players who are very good with being a little bit more patient, and there's others that are not. And this guy has a tendency to err on the latter side.
Yeah, it's a little bit of, can we say arrogance? A little bit of impatience. He obviously knows who he is as a player and what his ceiling is, and he knows he could become one of the best strikers in the world. And yeah, there was a little bit of drama with the West Ham transfer rumors, Chelsea as well. I know West Ham was in the mix. Sounds like Aston Villa values him at 60 mil right now.
Yeah, but I think that arrogance is something you need, particularly as a striker. I think you have to have that arrogance almost, because as a striker, you have to have that self-belief, that confidence. How many times have we seen strikers who you think could be so much better, but they lack confidence? And confidence is so big. And you have to have this mentality, and he has it. And that confidence is what allows you to do what he did, right, against Bayern Munich, to take that first time without even really knowing where the keeper is and hitting what is a spectacular goal. I mean, that is a required quality, is it not?
It is. I like it on the field. I don't like it off the field. I don't like it when it comes to prematurely trying to force a move. I don't like it when it comes to these kinds of conversations and dramas because they're distracting for him. They're distracting for the coach, distracting for the team. It turns fans against them. So, yes, I like the confidence. I like the arrogance, but keep it on the field, man. Be a Jamie Tart. Just on the field.
It can go both ways, right?
The Ted Lasso reference to everyone who didn't catch that.
Everyone.
I mean, one thing though, Rahi, look at the goals he scored this season, right? Yeah. They're important goals.
That's the key. That's the key, is that not only are they good goals, but nearly all of them have been winning goals, right? Goals that you need to win the game. Again, against Bayern Munich, it's the sole goal in a game, which was a tight game. They deserve to win the game, but it's his goal that makes the difference. The same can be said for the majority of goals he scored. Leicester, West Ham. These are goals that were winning, game-winning, match-winning goals. That's something you cannot teach, Roy. The ability to show up in big moments and not just score goals. Okay, it's one thing, to score a goal when it's 3-0 to add the fourth goal. Come on as a sub, right? Or to come in and the game's already in hand and you get on the end of a corner kick just because the other team has sort of given up in some ways. But to score goals when the game is in the balance, that's something you can't put a price tag on. And he's got the knack.
Yeah. And most players are the opposite of what you just described. They're able to score when the pressure is low, when the team's already winning, when the match doesn't really matter. But when it comes to big moments, it takes a different type of mentality to score in those moments, because most will start to stutter and make the wrong decisions and miss point blank shots because the pressure is so immense that they can't step up to it. They step down.
Or you pass, right? You pass instead of taking the shot, right?
Yeah.
In that moment against Bayern Munich, you take the touch, the Upamecano's on you, right? So you just hold it off, take it back, and it's not a bad move, right? It wouldn't have been, had he trapped it and recycled, it wouldn't have been a bad move. But in that moment, to have the confidence to say, I'm going to go for it in a big game, in a big moment, that's what you need, I think. And that there are a few players that have that. It makes a difference.
I love Unai Emery, who was like trying to take a little bit of the credit, and he was like, "Oh, we were talking about beforehand that Manuel Neuer likes to come out." It's like, yes, any player that's been watching, any fan of the sport that's been watching Manuel Neuer play for the last like 15 years or whatever it's been, would know that. So no, that was all Jhon Durán, in that moment.
Yeah, no, that Aston Villa has to thank Chicago Fire. Got to thank Joe Mansueto, the owner of Chicago Fire, for finding this player, for developing this player, for sending him off. For what do they sell him for? 14 mil? They're going to get 60, 70 mil for this guy in a year.
Yeah.
This is thank you to Shaqiri as well for helping develop this player in Chicago. Did you know Shaqiri played in Chicago, Rahi? I know you don't.
I do. He's no longer there, but he did play for Chicago.
Good. You're up to date. It's good to hear. So, thank you to Shaqiri for molding Durán. Thank you for Joe Mansueto, the owner of Chicago Fire, for finding him, developing, to Pelser for going to Envigado, and having the courage to say, you know what? I flew out here for this guy, but I want this guy. That is incredible. Aston Villa, write some letters, man. Put some respect on MLS name. Let's go.
Can you say Jhon Durán is on fire?
He is. Yeah. He's on fire. And you know what he gets? Next week as a reward, boys, for this great Champions League goal. You know what he gets? He gets to go to El Alto, Bolivia to play for the national team in El Alto. What a reward, man. What a reward.
No.
Yeah, so that's going to be a fun trip for Mr. Jhon Durán. Let's see if he can score. If he can score in El Alto. Let's see if you could do what you did, Jhon Durán. Let's see if you can do it in El Alto. Then we'll really give you the credit.
I think the ball flies more in altitude, right? It would, like, the air is thinner.
I don't know. Who knows?
Maybe.
But we shall see. Anyhow, Colombian fans, Chicago Fire fans, Aston Villa fans, let us know what you think about the goal that won the match for Aston Villa against Bayern Munich. Let us know what you think of Mr. Jhon Durán. Please, if you're enjoying these videos, subscribe to the channel, and we will nos vemos. And keep watching the beautiful game.
Durán!